Welcome to SwitchCorner, my name is Alex. Today, we're taking a look at Tunic on the Nintendo Switch. This, the long-awaited action RPG with countless comparisons to Zelda, but is that truly the case, and how does this Switch port hold up? Well, that's what I'm here to find out, so hit subscribe, join us here for reviews and deals, near daily, and let's get started. If you are thinking about picking up Tunic or anything else for that matter from the eShop, consider using cornershop.gg for discounted instant delivery email eShop credit. You'll get 10% off using code CORNER at checkout. Story then on Tunic, it's extremely minimalistic in design with its narrative, giving you very little to really work with outside of you are this fox out to explore ruins and basically uncover the treasures and secrets of this world. It's one of those you wake up, you find a sword, and now you get to exploring, and that absolutely works. It captures your curiosity effectively, and it demands you push forward to understand, more of this world from an ancient language that can be translated to an instruction manual, which often provides the clues to that next plot point. The real pleasure though, just seeing that narrative through, seeing this world expand. I loved joining this smaller fox on this tale, and by the end game, it all comes together, and I've got to say, thanks to the amount of effort you need to put in to uncover it, it is absolutely something that feels satisfying. Gameplay then, and let's start with the obvious one. Is it a Zelda-like? And I'd say sort of, but mostly no. The world is no question often a tribute, as are some of the mission types and the weapons, but now get rid of the Zelda idea and throw in some Souls-like for the combat as well as the exploration. Basically what I'm saying up front here is this game, it's incredibly difficult at points, especially boss encounters, and it's mostly open world, meaning if you wander in the wrong direction, the game will absolutely punish you. It even features a save system, statues in this case, that very much resemble the bonfires from Souls before it, and the levels as well, largely interconnected mazes with shortcuts to uncover, and they will be absolutely essential. If that does put you off as well, because I've had the question a few times, as well as the statements I don't want to play it because of this, do not worry, jump into the options menu, you can change a fair few options, but most importantly, you can dial it down or up in fact the combat difficulty, you can turn off the game's stamina system for attacks, that doesn't actually impact things like sprinting, and you can even then make yourself entirely invincible. Now it won't make the exploration any easier, but it will at least negate the frustration of death consistently over and over. The combat though, generally great fun. You'll be able to do everything from just simply block to actually parry incoming attacks. You'll be starting as well with a trusty sword and shield, but quickly you'll uncover new items. Think a grappling hook, a gun, a mage-like staff, the ability to freeze enemies. You also shouldn't expect this game to regenerate your health after battle. Instead, you'll be unlocking flasks along this journey that can be leveraged. If you do save the game as well, it's worth knowing all of these meters and flasks, they do regenerate, but at the cost of all of the enemies around you returning. You can then take things even further thanks to a stat system that can be upgraded. Basically, at each of these save points you can collect gold and specific items to increase one of your core stats, whether that's the health meter, special, stamina or magic. This is going to be essential, as will saving gold to spend at a local store that's run by a particularly creepy dog-like skeleton. For me, it was just about constantly investing in more and more health flasks, giving me the, more staying power when it came to more challenging battles. The last thing for combat then as well, if you're wondering what happens when you do die, you don't lose any of the items or the shortcuts you've unlocked to that point. It's not that unforgiving, but you will lose your gold. Get back to that same location though, touch your bloodstain or spirit in this case, and you will recoup what you dropped. This is though just the beginning as well. I've spoken to items, weapons, different upgrades, but there's even things such as cards that add new abilities or items. So think everything from magical abilities such as simple health regens to bombs to items that will freeze the world around you. Here's where things get really unique though. It is so dedicated to its exploration and uncovering the truth for yourself that the game actually rarely tells you what anything is or what it does. You see, the main collectible in this game is an instruction book. You'll be collecting pages. Often they start in this unknown language. You'll need to translate or simply figure it out. Half the items I found in the early game, it was often simply trial by fire before I found the corresponding pages to give me the fuller rundown. It also directs you then as well, this instruction book, on where you need to go next. And like, again, I don't want to give too much away, but the first half of the game, it's everything from praying and unlocking altars to power devices to collecting up gems. It sounds like it could be frustrating, and honestly, without a dash of patience to look through it, it will be, but it always rewards your hard work. And this instruction book, the design is absolutely incredible. I've never seen something quite like it in a game, but it is by far the most impressive system. Level design then, it's isometric by design, but few games can match the intricate design here, and when you start to understand the maps and how the world works, you'll start to see hidden doorways, secrets, passageways, shortcuts. The camera will pan around the world with you as well when necessary, and yeah, it's just really impressive, from more traditional fields to dungeons to caves to more sci-fi like fare. There's even a poison-like location that is an absolute pain in the ass. These locations then as well are filled with this hugely creative roster of enemies, each with their own unique attack patterns, and that's really kind of the trick to Tunic. Learn their moveset, understand when to attack and likewise when to defend, then leverage items alongside your more, let's say, standard fare. This is going to be everything though from flying beasts to drone-like technology to a frog clan and crocodiles. It keeps things fresh, but I also felt the difficulty ramp was very fair throughout, outside of maybe the occasional boss moments. Unfortunately for gameplay though, it's not perfect from a performance sense. The frame rate here, Tunic is aiming for 30, and for what I would describe as a good proportion, it does achieve that. I would never say 30 first off caused a problem either with something like, let's say, the parry system, which you will absolutely need. That said though, there are drops consistently throughout the experience, not frequent, but definitely with larger enemy counts or larger locations. I will add as well, in my short time with handheld, it's definitely not as noticeable, but it is still there to a minor amount. This is also true then during boss encounters where the game's enemies can be sizable, and here that's where we see what I would describe as almost stutters. They're kind of minimalistic, just a split second, but you'll definitely see them. The next impact on the game then as well, it's going to be load times, whether saving the game or loading to a new section of the map. As someone that also played on the Xbox, they are noticeably longer here, which for sure impacts, the flow of the experience. It's particularly frustrating though when it comes to loading into an area by mistake, and now you've got to sit through it, all over again. Overall though, for gameplay, Tunic, it's still extremely fun, but it's clear what areas needed to be dialed back. I still think it's a good port, but hopefully a future patch can tidy up, let's say, a few of the more important rough edges. Graphically then, it was always going to be a scenario where they needed to cut back, and for anyone that played this elsewhere, it will be immediately noticeable. Well, it's not bad. By far it's not bad, it's just a much softer image with its resolution, and the colour palette's taken a hit as well. It's lost some of its vibrancy alongside the shadow work. This is particularly noticeable on darker levels where the challenge to see things like secret doorways or incoming enemies, it was definitely dialed up to almost an unfair extent. They should have probably brightened these locations given the lower detail we are receiving. It's still a very good looking game though at the same time, I do want to put that out there. It's just a creative cast. Fox's animations are nice and fluid, as are the enemies. There's a lot of personality to the game overall though, from the consistently changing environment to the, minimalistic tale. The instruction manual again as well, all the items, incredibly impressive, and it's all supported then by simple to navigate menus. Handheld for visuals, an interesting one. It improves the image quality, no question, thanks to the screen size, but in handheld it can actually be a little tough to make out where you are and what is happening. That's sadly though down to the design of the game itself. It has a dynamic camera that pulls in and out sometimes, and I did find it was at moments a little too small to handle. Audio finally, and quality stuff here. Sound effects are decent, there's not a huge amount going on, but it will at least add some texture to the environments. Weapons sound good, as do enemy attacks. The winner though, it's the soundtrack. It has everything here from classical to more electronic, location dependent of course, but it's just overall got this great kind of lo-fi vibe to it all that I felt resonated well with the adventure, and it's also nice to have something a little bit more chill when it's a game that's basically out to kill you over and over again. So overall a Tunic, it's in a noticeable downgrade, and understandably so. We just don't quite have the power in the system as it stands to produce everything going on here. I'd love to see maybe a patch in the future to address some of the frame rate issues as well as the longer load times. That said though, this game is still absolutely worthy of your time. The world is stunning, the enemy is great fun, the boss is huge, and the combat a rewarding Souls-like system. It's not easy again either, but the game packs enough options here that anyone of any skill level can face it now, as long as you're willing to invest in the required exploration. With that in mind today, it's a great 8 out of 10 from me. I loved it the first time on the Xbox. On the Switch, can definitely see the shortcomings, but they still don't stop it from being one of the most memorable and creative games of recent memory. Will you be adding this one to the library then? Let me know in the comments down below. With that then, like, hit subscribe, but join us here for reviews and deals near daily, and I'll see you all on the next video. Thanks everyone.